Oh hey, today we're going to start stripping apart the Suburban, so tag along and see the destruction. Alright, so as I'd said in the short video there, I'm going to just strip this apart and use the engine, tranny, drive shaft, rear end, and hopefully, if I can make it work, the front suspension as well in the C50. But at the very least, I'm going to use the engine and transmission and rear end in the C50 and hopefully figure something else out for the front end. But that's the plan. So I got to start stripping this apart. So I'm going to start by draining the coolant out, getting the hood off, and ripping the front end off, and then we'll yank the motor and have some fun. Tag along. All right, well, the motor's out, and it took a few days, but got it out finally and made a little bit of a mess, as usual. And so the frame on this thing's actually really, really nice. And I've got a decision to make now on what I'm going to do in terms of this frame and the C50. So I was having some trouble finding brakes for that, but I've actually found, now the front shoes are okay and they will last for another little while, and they look relatively recent. I mean, I know that this truck was in service right up just until basically before they cut it and shortened it. So it was a working truck. All the front end is tight on it, so all the kingpins and all the steering tie rods and all that kind of stuff are good. So they seem to be good. So yeah, it's sprung a little bit heavy, so maybe remove some leaves or put some air ride in it, whatever. And the back was an issue. So the back shoes were very hard to find. Now, I think I found some, and help from my buddy at Shay at C50 Parts. So check him out, and I'll throw a link to his website down below. But we went through some of his old parts manuals, searched through his stuff, couldn't find any brakes at the time. He's got a ton of stuff for like brake parts, front end parts for, you know, 60s, 50s, old, you know, a ton of old car stuff, and get a hold of him. And if he doesn't have it, he's got some sources on where you can get it from, and it's good. New old stock, you know, American made, good, strong parts. Anyways, so we went through his stuff and found the part numbers for the rear shoes on this, because I couldn't find the part numbers anywhere. So we found the part number for the rear shoes, and that sort of led me through the trail. When we couldn't find it in his place, I went on the Google machine and started going through, and I found that the rear shoes on that are actually the same as the larger, basically straight framed C30 trucks up until about 80, 82, somewhere in there. So I was able to trace that through and find an actual part number for them so I can order the shoes. They're wicked expensive for what I consider. They're about 285 bucks Canadian for those rear shoes. So now I got a decision to make. Do I take the time and sort of rebuild on that frame and all that? Basically, if I throw shoes on there, I can, you know, throw the rear shoes on the back of there, throw the motor and tranny in it, get a drive shaft made, and this thing should be on the road. I mean, it sounds pretty simple, but I got to make up some motor mounts and stuff, but that's not overly complicated. Or do I take the C50 and drop it on the Suburban frame, because the Suburban frame is in really good shape? Now, the thing that kind of bums me out about that is I like the look of the big wheels, the big truck. I mean, I would drop it down a little bit, but I still want it to look like a big truck and have those big 10-bolt wheels. Yeah, I can buy 10-bolt adapters for this, but they're really expensive, the adapters for this truck. So I got some decisions to make, but let me show you the motor that I pulled out and just sort of explain to you what it is and how it cleaned up. So here's the motor and tranny that came out of that Suburban. Now, it's not the original motor out of the Suburban, and it was kind of, so it was throwing me off a little bit because it's painted blue on the top, but underneath you can kind of see on this intake manifold, you can see the orange. So it's a 75 block from what I can tell so far. I'm going to take another look at the date code here in just a minute. But from what I can tell from the number on the front and all the numbers that I found, is it's a 75, a whole whopping 145 horsepower. Woo, doggy! And it's out of a Chevelle, Monte Carlo, whatever. So it's a 3970010 block, and that's kind of why I decided to use this, because those are the better blocks. I don't know yet whether it's a 2-bolt or 4-bolt, don't really care. Turbo 400 transmission, great tranny to beat on. So I'm going to do a real budget build on this. I've got a camshaft for it. I've got a really cool intake manifold to go on that. And so there'll be more on that coming very, very soon on the build on this. I'll be doing the whole build and basically doing a budget build on it, stripping it down, putting new gaskets, throwing the camshaft, the different intake manifold and that stuff on it. So we're going to be doing that shortly. But let's dive in and see if I can find the casting numbers for the actual year of this motor. All right, now it's been a while since I've sort of, let's say, farted around with one of these things. So I think these are 882 heads. So what I could find so far on the block numbers is that it's a 75, but I'm going to try, I think it should be over here, and we've got A1DN. What's over here on my light? So there's actually a 5 there next to that date code. I can't remember what that DN stands for. Let me get my book and we'll take a look. All right, I've got my handy dandy Chevy V8 casting number book here. And it's been a while since I've sort of played around with this stuff quite a bit. Used to have all this memorized for the most part. Digging through old trucks and whatnot, trying to find stuff. Okay. Well, this should show me where. Right. So right there. 78. So B 22 8. So this one is, oh, I can't even read the front of it. 2 5. I don't even know, can I get this out of the way? Yeah, that's a 5. So it's a 75, 1975. So I'm not looking to make huge horsepower. So these 882 heads should be pretty good. I'm going to put headers on it, so we'll get these exhaust manifolds off. And I've got some different valve covers. You know, just spruce it up a little bit, paint it up and make it look kind of neat. Again, with that neat intake manifold, which I'll show you guys as I run through the build of this thing. But that's the plan for this. So there's going to be at least one or a few more videos on stripping this thing down and building it and then painting it, making it look nice. And yeah, we'll go from there. But for right now, I've got a decision to make on that chassis. So throw a comment down below on what your thoughts are. It'll probably be a couple weeks anyways before I get at this. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to look at this and comment on it and let me know before I go ahead and do it or make up my own mind. But let me know your thoughts. I'd really like to know what, you know, sort of throwing it out there. What would you guys want to see as viewers? Do you want to see me build this old 68, you know, dump truck chassis, or should I take it off, frame swap it, throw it on the Suburban? Either way, this Suburban is going to scrap. I will probably save the frame, and someone will, if I don't use the frame, I'll just sell the frame. But the body is completely shot. I mean, it's just too shot up the top. It's too shot underneath, but like I said, the frame is really, really nice. So you see that when I get the body ripped off of it. But anyways, let me know, and don't forget to subscribe, like the videos, comment, follow along, and yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. See you later.